I'm the dude. So that's what you call me.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah, not since I was 10.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Come on to the coast. We get together, have a few laughs.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
Can I return it if it doesn't fit?
It always fits. Eventually.
Welcome back to Movie Mingle. I'm Caveman.
And I'm Maggie.
And today we are on our April bonus episode. And since we have never had an animated film on our bonus episodes, we decided, hey, wouldn't it be fun to watch an animated movie for once?
Yeah.
We love animation.
We love animation.
Because Maggie had never seen The Iron Giant, we chose The Iron Giant.
Yeah.
This has been a movie that has been in my life since it came out, since I've saw it in the theater.
It is a movie that I only ever heard people talk about at length, and that was only after about 2009. I don't remember, like, when this movie came out, there was nobody in my life that was like, you have to see The Iron Giant. At least not that I remember. Maybe they were, but I just blocked it out. But I feel like it wasn't until I was an adult that people started talking about this
is a movie that I don't feel like a lot of people talked about pre, like, Facebook and YouTube, and like how big a lot of this, like, it's hard to escape.
When the internet helped us connect to other nerds.
A movie like The Iron Giant would be hard to miss.
Yeah.
If it came out today.
That is true, yeah.
It was out. I enjoyed it. My friends enjoyed it.
You saw it in the theater?
I saw it in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 1999 was an amazing year for films. I was also 18, so I had a lot more freedom to go to the movies more often.
Yeah, and see what you wanted to see.
And see what I wanted to see, especially rated R, which, that was the same year The Matrix came out. And so many other films that I'm not going to run through because there's actually a documentary out about the films of 99.
And a book. There's a lot of media out there about, films from 99. It is, it was one of the greatest years in movie history. So, but I guess this was a part of it.
And this movie was Brad Bird's directorial debut. Most people would know Brad Bird from The Incredibles and Incredibles 2, Ratatouille, and then he started branching himself out into live action with Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol and Tomorrowland. And I wish he would do more stuff because...
Does he not have anything
I think
coming up?
He's got... Brad Bird does have 2 films in production. One's in pre-production still, and the other one is in development, which means that it's not even off any kind of real ground yet. Mm-hmm. One's called 1906, and the other one's called Ray Gun. And not Reagan, but Ray Gun. But Incredibles 2 and Tomorrowland were his last 2 films.
Huh.
And I think he is an amazing storyteller because he writes these films as well. The Incredibles is it's probably the best telling in film form of the Fantastic Four so far.
Yeah.
Since we are only a couple months away from
the Fantastic Four.
So we'll see what MCU's version of Fantastic Four is going to be. And with The Iron Giant, it has been viewed as the best telling of a Superman type story. Mm-hmm. The Iron Giant was originally written by Ted Hughes. It was published in England in 1968. He was born Edward James Hughes. I don't know his work other than this one book. He's in the list of the top 50 English authors of the 1900s. He was a poet and was born in 1930, died in 1998. He married, he was Sylvia Plath's husband.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting life. I was looking at some of the commemorations that he's been given over the years, and of course they're just a mile long, so I can't read through all of it. But the one that I thought was interesting is that if you go to the Devon village of Bellstone You know,
Okay.
If
Yeah.
you just happen to be in England and you're
Yeah,
like,
if you're in
wow,
England,
look,
in
I'm
Devon,
I'm in Bellstone.
and then look, we're in Bellstone.
Hey, look at that. That's
Yeah.
cool. Hey, look at this. There's a memorial walk that you could take that goes through the town, and it's like a poetry trail, and goes through Stover County Park, and then it ends with him with his own, with a plaque and in the area that he grew up in. I don't know. I thought that was interesting that you could go on a walk about a person's life. And
I would love to go actually be a part of that. I would love to go to England. I would love to go on weird historical walks for local celebrities. I want to go to the Lake District. I want to go to the Pottery District. Man, I want to go to that place in Pride and Prejudice where he proposes to her in the rain and she turns him down. Like, I want to go to England so badly.
Michael Caveman did the music, 97 projects since the late 70s. He did the music for Highlander and Lethal Weapon 1, 2, 3, and 4. He was also the composer for movies like Adventures in Babysitting, Die Hard 1, 2, and 3, The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, Roadhouse, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, which I love.
The music for Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is so good.
And
so
he
good.
also co-wrote Everything I Do with Brian Adams.
Fucking the Canadian government has apologized to Brian Adams on several occasions.
Also, Last Action Hero, the Disney's Three Musketeers, Mr. Holland's Opus, Jack, Event Horizon.
Martin Scorsese's Jack?
Yeah, of all people, he did Jack. What Dreams May Come.
Holy shit.
The original X-Men music, the themes from the
What?
Michael Caveman.
Kamen,
maybe.
Kamen?
Michael Caveman. I don't know Michael
I
Caveman.
don't know Michael Kamen, but
No,
I
he's
fucking
not
know Michael Kamen.
But you know his work. But that's not where it ends, Maggie.
Holy shit.
So this is kind of weird because you don't know who he
No,
is.
I
The
don't
name
know who
doesn't
this,
just...
No, it's not.
Michael, it's spelled the normal way.
Yeah.
Kamen, Kamen.
Yeah.
Is the composer to the music to Band of Brothers.
What? I know that. I fucking know that fucking...
That music is like tattooed to your brain.
It is... that music is tattooed to my brain. When we watched Pride and Prejudice and you talked about how you fall asleep to... or I fall asleep to Pride and Prejudice music a lot. I also fall asleep to a lot of Band of Brothers music.
That music's great.
Now that you're saying that, you know what?
Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, fucking.
Blah, 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 blah. Ba-da-ba-dum, which now that you hear that,
Yes.
I can hear Prince of Thieves in that tune.
Yeah. Fucking. The thing about Band of Brothers is that even though I know that soundtrack, like I know the air that I breathe,
It's like Lord of the Rings. Like
I never paid attention to the composer.
That's so wild. That
It's not that I didn't appreciate the
you
composer.
know exactly who did Lord of the Rings. You know
Yeah,
exactly which ones did which Marvel films.
Yeah, I know.
It's just surprising because Band of Brothers is a huge...
It's a huge soundtrack for my existence.
Yeah.
It really is.
It may not be a show that we constantly rewatch,
No,
but when we do, we're in love.
I love that show so much. I'd watch it right
but
now.
the music is
forever.
forever.
I guess that makes me kind of a bad fan then.
No,
But
well, now you know.
Now I know.
Now if somebody said, hey, who does the music for Band of Brothers? Well, and then all the 24
and then
other projects
the Iron Giant and Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Roadhouse. I'd be like, guess what? Michael Kamen. My brain just got completely fucking warped by the idea that this film's development. I don't know if you're going to bring this up or not.
Just go for it.
But I'm reading directly off of the Wikipedia page. The film's development began in 1994 as a musical with involvement from The Who's Pete Townsend. Pete Townsend is a producer on this movie. Pete motherfucking Townsend, one of my favorite rock icons of all time. Yeah, fucking I will always love.
I mean, he's up there.
He's up there.
Yeah.
For me, my rock and roll Mount Rushmore, which is very hard to say.
Say that 5 times fast.
What is like Pete Townsend's fucking on it. He's one of the 4 up there. I might like this movie a little bit more now.
You're like, haha.
Haha!
It's a 3 now.
No, I did not dislike this movie.
Well, that's great to hear.
I just want everybody, before you start writing off angry emails,
Listen to the whole podcast first.
I liked this movie. I was just not as emotionally invested as my sweet husband and child, who we watched together. I still very much like this movie, so back off. But now that I know that Pete Townsend was involved, it also makes a lot of goddamn sense.
And the composer of Band of Brothers.
And the composer of Band of Brothers.
Robin Hood.
Oh.
Lethal Weapon 4.
I do it for Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
Like, I just... Fuck. Oh, God. Check out the music from Band of Brothers. Check out the
Just
Band
watch
of Brothers,
Band of Brothers.
Sweet 1 and Sweet 2. Oh,
If you don't have HBO,
fucking-
it is worth the month.
I think it's on Netflix.
Is it?
It was. For a while there, Band of Brothers went to Netflix. But fucking everybody has HBO. Like, these days, fucking, if you haven't watched Band of Brothers, it is one of the best World War II stories ever told. And they were brave men, and they were hot men, except for David Schwimmer.
Yes, but it's not just World War II like eye candy. It's like
Oh God, no! It is one of
it
the
is a
most.
legitimately.
I mean, it was done by Tom
great-
Hanks and Steven Spielberg. Like, y'all, you get it.
Yeah, they were still on their high from
Saving Private
Saving
Ryan.
Private Ryan,
It's
and
got Damian Lewis in it. And
Damian
he
Lewis is
so
amazing.
Hot.
yeah, no, all the actors. I mean, it's got every British
Literally,
actor
you're
ever.
watching it and you're like, there's James McAvoy, and there's fucking Michael Fassbender, and there's Tom Hardy, and there's fucking Jimmy Fallon. And there's Scott Grimes, and there's like this guy and that guy. That movie, and there's David Schwimmer.
Simon Pegg.
Simon fucking Pegg? Yeah.
There's so many people.
God, I forgot about baby Simon Pegg.
Such a baby. in
Oh,
it. Yeah.
such an infant.
He was. I think they're like, let's get this toddler in the war.
And he's like, I'm Simon Pegg.
I'm Simon Pegg. I need a job. And they're like, here, go do this job.
That movie is so great.
He's so
That series
young.
is so great. Anyways, The Iron Giant, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. We are here to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm just floored by Michael Cannon's
Sorry. Like,
career. The cinematography was done by Steven Wilsbach. Usually he works as the camera operator and or supervisor. This is his one cinematography credit
yeah.
ever. Like, only for this movie. He got cinematography for The Iron Giant. Everything else is just being a camera operator or a supervisor. I mean, I'm guessing the camera operator part was probably for animation.
What's a better way to learn how to, like, compose landscapes than literally composing
the
landscapes?
landscape. Yeah, not necessarily drawing, but like.
Well, no, but like having you're looking
But yeah,
at.
you are looking through a
Because
camera.
animation should always have perfect cinematography. Because
Because you can do anything.
you can do anything.
Yeah,
You can make literally exactly
you can
the
have
scene that
you can have
want.
the best light.
Yeah.
You can have the best. Everything is in your favor
So
as a photographer.
what a better way to teach a cinematographer than to start with animation.
And when they,
Animation and photography in general, but
well, yeah,
Yeah.
they teach animators and cinematographers
yeah.
that if you want to get started as an animator or cinematographer, well, first of all, if you're an animator, draw.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a whole bunch. But as far as like on camera, the best advice that they say is become a photographer first. Take those photos, study landscapes,
Study ratios,
lights,
study lighting, study
all of that, and the film part of it will just come naturally later.
Mm-hmm.
You're just now you can move the camera around while you are still taking those still shots.
This is going to sound kind of pompous, but, fuck it. I don't have the knowledge of what makes a good photo, right? Like, all the different ratios and the aspects and the
Sure.
zooms and the coloring and the blah, 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 right?
Same. I'm not as technical
Yeah.
into all that.
I could easily learn if I put any effort into it, but I haven't. All of this to say, I've got a pretty good eye for a very gorgeous landscape. You'll see me point out landscapes or things. I'm just saying I could probably be a halfway decent cinematographer. Sure. That's all this to say. I think I could do it.
I think I could do it. Seems easy enough. Sure.
Okay.
No, I think what you're trying to say is you have a
have a
decent
good eye.
eye.
And if
you
it wasn't,
you take pretty good
If
photographs.
somebody...
But it'd just be like, cinematographer?
I can do it.
I got it.
No, I guess, okay. Let me rephrase it this way. That's sounding like...
I mean, at least you did start it by saying, I don't want to sound pompous. Okay. You may not have wanted to.
This is why I love our bonus episodes. They get so off the rails.
That's what they're here for.
If I was given the choice, cosmically, if, say, in my next life, when I'm planning out my existence, and I'm like, you know what, I've spent so long loving movies, I want to make movies now. And they were like, all right, what do you want to do? Maybe not the writer, because being somewhat of a writer in this existence, I know how hard it is. I think cinematography would be fun.
I think cinematography would also be fun.
I think that would be an interesting job to have. I don't want to be the director. I don't really want to be the editor. But like cinematography, or anybody that gets to make out with Timothy Oliphant, or, you know, maybe like helping put together soundtracks. Those would be like the top 3 things that I would like to do if I were to be able to come back and make movies for a living. I think that it would be fun. You know, like I said, directing, I have no desire in directing. Having been a writer, I know the agony of it, and I'm not really in it to win it there anymore. And I put together one hell of a fucking playlist, so I think I'd be good at putting together soundtracks. But that was my original thought process about me going off on how cinematography looks easy. It doesn't look easy. It looks very hard. I wish I could be Wally Pfister, but I'm not.
That kind of job, like, I would absolutely love to be a cinematographer.
Yeah.
Do I have that skill and ability? Probably not.
Yeah, I probably don't either. Just because I can take a halfway decent photo.
Just because I can take a halfway decent photo and post it on Instagram doesn't mean that I am going to win an Academy Award.
Yeah.
But it would have been a job that I would have found very fun to do.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's something that I think I could actually do on a set.
Yeah. Best boy?
Yes, best boy. You don't even know what the best boy does.
Nobody knows what the best boy does.
Yes, actually, I do.
Of course you do. Has something to do with lighting, right?
It does have something to do with lighting in the electrical department.
Yeah.
But which is exactly kind of what I wanted to do.
Oh.
Like electrical lighting, which is also the gaffer.
Yeah. Gaffa.
And then you got grip or key grips, which are literally guys that just hold on to things, like
the
especially
poles.
but even like cameramen.
Yeah.
If a cameraman is holding the camera and trying to concentrate on the shot.
Yeah.
And he's got to walk backwards.
Oh yeah. The guy that's holding on to his
holding
hips.
him behind him, holding his hips and guiding him so he doesn't trip.
You would be really good at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got a pretty good grip.
I do have a great grip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what any of that was about, but
Leave it in.
Rotten Tomatoes has The Iron Giant at a 96%, which couldn't disagree with that, and a 90% from audiences. I couldn't ask for anything more.
Except for maybe box office
draw back when it, because this obviously became a hit later. I got to see it, but like you said back then, you probably didn't hear as much about it or at all, and maybe in passing, and it wasn't enough of a significant amount of like, hey, go watch this amazing film. The Iron Giant was made for $50 million.
Yeah.
Generous amount for
the animation's beautiful
for a 2D film.
Yeah.
We have had conversations about,
and like nobody on the cast. That was definitely not like Vin Diesel being like, "Oh, give me all the money," because there's nobody on the cast that warrants that amount of money. So,
right. But we've had conversations about these Disney and Pixar films that have a budget of $200 million, and this movie, this little hand-drawn, low budget DreamWorks film, came out in '99 when there were still a lot of 2D, but Pixar was starting to.
Yeah.
That came out in '94.
Had Shrek already come out? Here's the thing: if this movie maybe
2001.
Oh, okay. So Shrek hadn't come out yet, so people weren't into like more. No, I don't want to use the word perverse. That's not the word I'm thinking of, but more like radical and new and modern animation, right? I kind of look at Shrek as like what brought about a new age of animation.
Yeah, Shrek and Toy Story.
Yeah, Shrek and Toy Story, absolutely. And The Iron Giant is a great film from like 1972, even 1992. Like it's an old-fashioned movie with an old-fashioned idea. Yes, it's a superhero story, but this story is a pop, a pop story that you and by pop I mean like it's sci-fi, it's goofy, it's very.
It would have been the kind of story they would have had in a comic book
in
back
the 50s.
then, in the 50s.
It's a story
of the
it's a sci-fi story from the 50s
of an Iron Giant coming, which I think is even Hughes himself. I think took it from I don't think it was his original idea. About an Iron Man coming down from the sky.
No,
I'm pretty sure that was.
He wasn't thinking about that when he was beating Sylvia Plath.
Oh boy.
Maybe we won't go on the Hughes Memorial Walk when we
canceling that trip?
No, not to Devon. I would love to go see Devon.
Go see Devon. All right.
But maybe we won't stop by the Hughes Memorial, beating your wife garden.
We walk. Jesus.
All of this is to say, this isn't the story that people cared about in 1999, right? It is the idea of it being set in the Cold War was a little too far-fetched for children and a little too young for the parents taking their kids to see it, right?
Sure.
And so while it's so much more than that once you get into it, it is actually, it's a Superman story, and it is a beautiful story about grief and love and family. That, you're not going to see that by the trailer. The trailer is just spaceman, Cold War, animated, and it's not Disney, and there's nobody in the cast that I recognize. We'll wait until it's on video. We'll rent it from Blockbuster, and then they'd understand. But I'm not surprised that this movie didn't do well, because I don't think that it came out in the right time, if that makes any sense. I just don't think that culturally this story spoke to 1999.
Was there a combination of CG in this movie?
I think so. I mean, this has to have some CG in it.
I was looking up to see when DreamWorks stopped making 2D animation. They, according to IMDb, there are only 4 movies that DreamWorks has made in 2D animation: The Prince of Egypt, El Dorado, Spirit, and Sinbad.
Oh no, it's not DreamWorks. It's a Warner Brothers feature animation.
Everybody should watch El Dorado.
I've never seen El Dorado.
Oh my goodness! Did you see Prince of Egypt? You saw Prince of Egypt.
I fucking do.
You saw Prince of Egypt, but you didn't see El Dorado.
I might have seen El Dorado once, maybe at my friend Angie's house. I don't remember much of it, but I know that it's like the bisexual movie Daydream.
I mean, it's Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh.
I know. Maybe no. You know what? Jesse definitely made me watch it.
So yes, it was made for $50 million. It made $24 million domestically.
Okay.
$8 million internationally.
Yikes.
$30 million on home media.
Okay, that's something.
Yes. It's for a total of 62. So 62.50.
It's not great.
No, it wasn't.
If it weren't for the home media, which is funny because, I think again that goes back to what I was just ranting about, was that people didn't see it in the theater. But it was either word of mouth, or I swear to God, it was people renting it at Blockbuster and going, this movie's amazing, and then buying it. Or a friend showing them, like, hey, you need to watch this. This is, it's a cult classic for a reason. It is a word of mouth movie. It's people going, you need to sit down and watch this film, trust me. And so I'm not shocked that the home media kind of brought its budget back. Which at least it made... I mean, I'm sure in the end it was still a money loss for Warner Brothers. Talking, 62 million. Warner Brothers has had a lot worse, actually, flops. So,
the movie did win 20 awards, including a BAFTA.
Really?
Which is funny. I know. Which is
for
a British,
what? For animation?
Best Children's Award for Best... Or a BAFTA Children's Award for Best Feature. And the fact that the BAFTA it's British.
Oh, it's the BAFTAs are the British Oscars, though.
It is.
Like, they're prestigious.
They are, absolutely. But it's funny that such a steeped American, like, the 50s
story, yeah.
when America was America.
Yeah.
No,
they appreciate a good story.
They appreciate a good story. Our cast of characters is a pretty good one.
Yeah, it's fairly decent for 99.
For 99.
Yeah.
It's we got Eli Marienthal.
Marienthal? He's a cutie.
Hogarth Hughes.
He was the only one that I didn't really know, like, him much of his stuff off the top of my head like I do the rest of the cast. And he's been in some solid, like 90s and early 2000s stuff. I think he was a kid actor.
He was I think the thing that everybody knows him from is probably playing Stifler's brother from American Pie 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
That little turd that comes in and
Yeah, and he was in Slums of Beverly Hills, and, like, he's done a lot of animated stuff. Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen. He was one of those Disney kids, too. He's a cutie. I will say, I don't particularly like Hogarth as a character. No. I found him to be desperately annoying.
Oh, really?
Oh, God, yes.
Is that because you're a parent?
Well, yes, but I also don't like loud boys. That kid, I guess maybe it is because I'm a mom that I couldn't imagine having had a kid like that. And while, yes, he has gone through some pretty severe trauma. His father was killed in a war, Korean War, I would assume.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it felt like he knew his dad and then lost his dad, so it probably would have been that. And I get that he was just like this latchkey boomer, like running out there in the forest, just running around causing mayhem. But I don't know, like, much in the way that I can't stand when I did read the Harry Potter books. Not anymore, because fuck that bitch. But when I did read the 5th Harry Potter book when he's a 15-year-old boy, I hated him so much. And it's just because I think that some of the worst people on this planet are teenage boys. And Hogarth is a really annoying boy.
He's not that bad.
I don't know.
Yes, he's full of energy and he's loud, but
to be fair,
he's just a
it has
boy,
been minutes since we watched this movie, so I don't remember. I just remember, like, vaguely watching it and being like, God, this kid kind of sucks.
I think you're putting you're putting yourself in the shoes of the mom.
I am.
And being like, how annoying would this kid be to raise?
So goddamn annoying to raise a kid like that. And you're right.
That I
You are
understand.
exactly right.
Now, would I have loved to have been that, like, to go back to that age and be that kind of loud kid again? Yeah, because I was, and I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yep, and I'm glad I didn't know you in that time. I think that Eli did a wonderful job as Hogarth.
Yeah.
But I have never personally been able to identify with that type of loud, obnoxious, rambunctious boy, because all of those boys that I knew in my real life, from my family to the kids at school, were always the boys that I was like, fucking kill me, I swear to God. I could never stand them. I guess that is a more personal thing for me. But I don't know, I just like no wonder boomers were insane. There was lead paint and fucking unattributed, or, well, ununderstood trauma and fucking just, like, Cold War and all this other insanity. Like, no wonder that generation grew up to be what they are now. Thank God we have therapy in our generation, though. That's all I'm saying.
So yeah, we've got Harry Connick Jr. playing Dean.
I goddamn love
I
Harry
love
Connick
me some
so
Harry Connick
goddamn
Jr.
much. That man. I will always love the original series of Will and Grace. I didn't like the weird reboot where they went back on what the series finale was. I always thought that it was unfortunate, because I actually thought that the series ended up in a really beautiful way. And when they brought it back and changed the ending, it wasn't great. But Harry Connick Jr. as Grace's husband / baby daddy. I always really liked that pairing. I don't know. I think he's so cute. He's a great singer. He's, a really wonderful actor. I'm always happy to see him and stuff. And I always kind of sometimes forget that he acts. Like, if that makes any sense.
One of his most memorable roles from when I was a kid was Independence Day.
Yeah.
Just because he's Will Smith's wingman.
That's it.
And then,
he
gets killed.
Because that's what happens to the wingman.
To the wingman, yeah. If you're the main character's wingman, you're dead. Just ask Goose.
Oh, poor Goose. Yeah, no, like he always.
Yeah, growing up, that was the main thing that I had latched onto, and then later in life, I watched a few more.
I remember
of his
Hope
stuff.
Floats being a big thing. I could not tell you what happens in Hope Floats, but I remember it being a big thing. Like, I remember my mom and my mom's friends being like, Hope Floats, Like, that was a big, like, mom movie when it came out in 98. I know I saw P.S. I Love You, but I think it was just depressing and sad. I don't remember him in it. But, like, Harry Connick Jr. for me, because I was just such a big pop culture kid, I just knew him from several things. My family loved Memphis Belle. Do you remember Memphis Belle?
I do not at all.
I'm just trying to remember if this was the movie that I remember, but it was about an airplane an actual airplane in World War II. And it had it's had a few stories done after it. And for God's sake, Sean Astin was in this movie with him and Matthew Modine. But if maybe it's not the one I'm thinking of. I remember one that like a Twilight Zone episode where like this old plane went through like a time warp, and like a World War II bomber plane went through a time warp and landed in another time or another place, and they all had to get back. And that's what I thought Memphis Belle was, but maybe I'm wrong. But nonetheless, that was a movie that like my dad watched a lot, so I knew him from that and from Will and Grace. All of this to say, I really like Harry Connick Jr.
Jennifer Aniston plays Annie Hughes, that poor mother. Of course,
that poor mother, yeah.
Jennifer Aniston, what needs to be said, one of the biggest stars in the world because
now
of
she's
Friends.
shilling Skinny Pop.
Well, somebody has to.
Good for her. She's getting paid.
Don't pick on Jennifer Aniston. I'm
not picking on Jennifer Aniston. Wow. Do you have a secret Jennifer Aniston thing that I don't know about?
My friends will always be my friends.
I was obsessed with that show.
Same.
I was obsessed, but I have not been able to rewatch it with a kind eye the way that you have.
I don't.
No. I mean,
I wouldn't say that just because you rewatch it doesn't mean you have to watch it with a kind eye.
True.
I can point out its fallacies while I'm watching it.
Yeah, but
because there's still a lot of good to it and great writing and fun. And at the same time,
that much anymore.
And then other times it can be like, Ross, you dick. You're such a bitch for doing that.
Such a bitch for all of it.
There's not one thing that Ross does.
No, Ross is irredeemable and pretty much.
But he never was. But he never, even in the 90s, Ross was. But
he still gets the girl
wrong.
at the end. She shouldn't have got off that plane. She should have gone on to Paris and left Ross in the fucking dust. So let me just put it this way. I appreciate Friends. I can watch an episode and laugh at it. Monica and Chandler will actually always be one of my favorite TV couples.
As soon as they officially became a no longer sneaking around couple and married, the show was just
great.
Like, I know they always say, like, as soon as the couple
gets together, ruined,
the rest of the show is ruined. But I feel like, all right, finally they're together, and now I can just watch them have a life together.
Be a couple.
Yeah, be a couple instead
Their
of
proposal
all
scene
the drama leading up to it.
When she proposes to him, I fucking cried my face off in that episode. I cried so goddamn hard. I will forever love that episode. Which, by the way, that ending scene... where all of the friends are there at the proposal, except for David Schwimmer, except for Ross, right? And they're like, "Where's Ross?" And somebody's like, "It doesn't matter, nobody knows," or whatever. And it's a laugh at. He was actually in England filming Band of Brothers, which is why he couldn't be there to film that scene. Band of Brothers was scored by Michael Caveman, who scored Iron Giant. Back to Iron Giant.
Yeah, I was
But
about
also,
to
I guess
say,
Jennifer Aniston has a giant connection between those two things, too.
very much so. Very much so. But I was going to say that...
This is going to be a great episode.
I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
Vin Diesel.
Vin fucking Diesel. What can be said about about vehicle identification number Diesel? You know, I love to hate him and I hate to love him, but I fucking love him and I don't hate him. Like, if that makes any sense. Vin Diesel is one of those guys that I will forever kind of take a crack at, roll my eyes at his movies and his choices. But he kind of seems like a genuine dude.
He always comes back with something. You're just like
He
always
comes
does
back
something
with something.
Something happens in the real world, and you're just like, fucking Vin Diesel, you are a solid dude. I mean,
Yeah,
he's into D&D.
Yeah, he's a big old nerd. And he really does love his family. I swear to God.
He has the goofiest real voice.
Yeah, he does.
The whole gruff thing is such an act.
Yeah.
And when you hear him giggle, I got to see him do a D&D session on a YouTube show. Early in his career, he wasn't trying to be so cool.
Yeah.
And just I'm always Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And just genuinely, and fame and money and time can change a guy, and who knows what he's like now. But just seeing him back then he had already done some Fast and Furiouses, so he was already that character.
Yeah.
But
I imagine watching him play D&D would be
playing
fucking
D&D
charming.
and laughing with the other players and at times being just acting like a little kid is really charming, really funny.
You know what?
So I always hope that he still has a little bit of that in him.
You know what endeared
today.
him to me?
What's that?
Was Baby Groot.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And not just because Baby Groot is one of the cutest fucking things to ever exist. But I mean to say, him voicing Groot, a gruff, woody voice, that makes a lot of sense, right? And Groot was, and we'll talk about him very soon, is, and shall remain the best of all the Guardians, because I fucking love that tree so goddamn much. I love him with all my heart. But it was the fact that Vin Diesel went in and instead of getting a child to do it, went in and did Baby Groot. And did Teenage Groot, and did all the different screams, and all the different voices, and all the different... And he had fun with it. He had to have had so much fun with it, because how can you not doing that character? And he's one of the... only him and Gunn know what Groot says most of the time. So he actually knows what Groot says.
Yeah, because they want him to put a certain emphasis on inflections on...
And even Teenage Groot, I guess...
especially when he's like, I am Groot.
I am Groot, yeah. His acting choices for, child Groot were one of those things that made me go, fuck, I love this guy. Also, when it comes down to it, I kind of would pick him over The Rock. I mean, The Rock's given us a little bit more of substance, but Vin Diesel's given me a little bit more joy.
And Vin Diesel also seems like he's still more of the grounded dude.
Yeah, I don't buy any sort of humbleness from The Rock.
I hear a lot of complaining come from people who work with The Rock.
Yeah.
Compared to
the
Vin
humbleness
Diesel.
seems very fake.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we love you, Vin Diesel. What else? And yet I also kind of hate him, and he makes some really terrible choices.
There's some ridiculous things the man does.
Some ridiculous fucking things. But the thing
says, and you're just like, okay,
really quickly, and this is going to be so dumb, but that commercial of Vin Diesel and fucking Michelle Rodriguez, where they're driving along the coastline eating ice cream bars,
so pure,
and
so
just so pure and so good, and who knew that we needed that so badly? People don't talk about what a sweet fucking thing that is. It's just sweet.
Those two actors not saying a single thing, just driving in a convertible and smiling at each other.
And eating ice cream and being happy.
And looking legitimately happy about everything that's happening.
Yeah. And I'm
not
just like,
ending in some terrorist shooting a bazooka
No.
at them and like
Them having to like
one of them
wrap
gets
around each other in a
kidnapped and-
car and
who knows?
whatever.
Like,
It's
who
like fucking
knows?
It's the
But that's-
exhaustion of that
but
relationship.
That wasn't the point of the commercial.
No,
It
they
was
just get this sweet
we're
moment.
just gonna have it.
Calm.
I don't even know what it
blissful.
was selling.
I think it's an ice cream bar.
Okay.
I don't know which one. Probably like fucking
See,
Dove or
sometimes
something.
commercials like that don't work.
Oh,
They work on a different level.
I'm just like Dom and Letty deserve an ice cream bar Sunset Drive,
They do.
and I'm
They
glad that
absolutely-
we got to see them
We
get
finally
it.
get them to. Even if X2 is canceled, we got
if we
that
never see
commercial
another
gave me
Fast and
closure.
Furious movie, that's the closure I needed. Oh,
I don't care about any of the other
none
characters.
of the other characters. Fucking, we know what Ludacris is up to.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing good. But that motherfucker's back in space in a Nissan Volta. Like, but Dom and Letty got their ice cream sunset.
Oh boy. Anyway, did you know that he plays the Iron Giant? Didn't even get to that part.
We all know who he plays. He plays the giant.
Yeah.
And again, he gives
And
beautiful
A performance that brings a tear to my eye every time.
Yeah,
when he says, "I am Superman,"
Yeah.
and every time he says it, I'm just like, "You are. You're saving everyone." And that's fucking Vin Diesel delivering that
Yeah,
line.
yeah. I guess that's something else that endures me to Vin Diesel.
And he does the same fucking thing to me in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie,
Fucking
which I'm
We
sure
Are
we'll talk
Groot.
about it when
Yeah.
we get to that episode. But yeah, we are a group moment.
Yeah,
Tears.
fucking weeping.
Again,
Like,
Vin
oh my
Diesel.
God. Yeah,
I'm expecting X2 needs to bring me to tears.
I guess it is called X2. Yeah, no. I mean, obviously,
Yes,
we
Fast
all
and the Furious 10 Part 2.
Two, yeah.
I call it X2.
we've all cried during a Fast and Furious movie because if you don't, you have no soul. And specifically, I'm talking about the one where they send off Brian.
That was that
Yeah.
brought a tear to my eye.
Yeah, like everybody cried during that. There's no way you could not cry in that scene. It is so heartbreaking. But yeah, like Vin Diesel can also make us cry by his performances, and we love you, man.
So yeah, Christopher McDonald plays Kent Mansley.
Well, I just wandered around the building all night. I didn't run into another single living soul. Except one gigantic lesbian. Who is Conan O'Brien and why is she so sad?
That's all I could think while watching this, is because his character is
In
fucking
a
Conan
30 Rock
O'Brien.
episode. His character is Conan?
The red
he
hair,
plays-
his character
Oh.
looks like Conan O'Brien.
Okay.
So much so that in all of my notes, I wrote down, and when I was referring to him, I referred to him as
never-
Conan. You have never
No.
made...
Not once.
What?
Not once.
The first time I saw that red-haired ginger with his big-ass face and the giant red swoop,
well, sure.
fucking Conan.
Yeah, now that you're telling it to me. But I wasn't... I've watched this movie countless times, and I've never once looked at
I just ruined it for you.
Mansley and been like,
No.
that looks like Conan O'Brien.
Mansley for me is totally Conan O'Brien. I mean, obviously not in temperament or joy, but definitely he was like one of Conan's long lost angry great uncles, you know. But yeah, I just kept thinking, who is Conan O'Brien and why is she so sad?
Oh, boy.
He's a psycho. He's a psycho and he's a creep. Mansley is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely he is.
And I get that is kind of the point, but like that guy is, you know, it's concerning how much time he wants to spend around that young boy. You see that, right?
He technically kidnaps him.
He does, yeah, he does indeed. Christopher McDonald has done 800,000 things.
Yes, I think that's what IMDb
Yeah,
literally says.
and
I mean,
we
the
will
one-
love him for everything.
I mean,
that he
the
does.
main thing I remember him from is playing Shooter McGavin.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore.
But he pops up in stuff all the time, and he plays such an excellent asshole. He's so good at being the creep, the asshole, the jerk, the just sleaze, right? Like,
Oh, yeah, he plays sleaze very
he
well.
plays sleaze so well.
That's why Shooter McGavin's such a great character.
And I'm always excited to see him and stuff. I don't remember, because like I said, it's been a second since we watched this movie, between watching it and recording it. But I remember not realizing that it was him voicing the character. I thought it was somebody else. But he did such a great job, and he always does such a great job. Like, fucking Christopher McDonald is a consummate character actor, and I will always love him.
He always does play kind of that sleazeball guy, and because he plays it so well, but he does comedy really well, and he plays drama really well. I mean, he's been in movies like The Faculty and The Skulls and Boardwalk Empire. John Mahoney plays the general.
Oh, John Mahoney, who will forever and always be in my heart of hearts, Martin Crane.
Oh, yeah.
From Frasier.
You know, I think what you discovered this week was that something's missing from your life. And before you start to fill it up with everything but the kitchen sink, I think you ought to just ask yourself, what do I really want? What is really going to make me happy now? Well, that's weird. I suddenly feel like having a beer.
90s sitcoms were unique. All of 90s media was very unique. But, a lot of people, especially millennials these days, because we're so desperate to latch on to something when life was good, we go back to those sitcoms from our childhood. And not all of them live up, like Friends. Like, for me, even though I was obsessed with Friends as a, middle schooler, as I grew out of it, I never found that same, love for it again. Frasier was a show that made me laugh when I was a kid, even though I didn't understand half the jokes, but I still appreciated the comedy, and so much of Frasier is physical comedy. And that it was at least what kept me coming back to that goddamn show. And then as I grew up and watched it again and again and again and again and again, we watched Frasier a lot in this household.
Yes.
The jokes remain. Not only is the physical comedy still incredible, but now I understand all of the hoity-toity intelligent jokes. And some of them I still don't even fully understand, but I'm getting a lot more of them every time.
Every time, and you're I get
just
that.
saw the reference. And that show remains one of the funniest sitcoms to ever exist. And part of that was John Mahoney as the dad, Martin Crane. Martin, I was thinking about the episode when the hot and foamy explodes all over Niles. And Martin goes, I think my hot and foamy must have exploded. And Daphne replies, he was a detective, I've been laughing over that one little moment in my head for days now.
Days.
Literally, it was something that I came across it at work not too long ago. The reference was made at work. And so I've been giggling about it over the last few days. Frasier is great. I love that series. And I will forever miss John Mahoney in the Frasier reboot, which is also, I'm so happy to say, great. It's not as great, but it's still pretty goddamn good. Every time they pay homage to Martin, I fucking cry my face off. I just can't hold it back. Every time they reference Martin in some way, I have a full-on ugly cry. So
yeah,
we love you, John Mahoney.
He almost felt like a dad.
He did.
The fact that he's gone in the show is just you feel it when they talk about him.
Yeah.
You're just I remember him.
I loved him.
I loved him too, like a dad.
There's this great Tumblr post that points out that the 90s had the Iron Giant, the 2000s had Wall-E, the 2010s had Baymax, and the 2020s will have the Wild Robot. I think human beings always like going back to the ideal of the robot that saves the day, because I guess it's the easiest thing. It's the AI of it all too, right?
And it's also the easiest thing. I mean, not to just simplify it down to its basic things.
That is very simple.
But it is very easy to just be like, here's a hero that we don't have to be...
An unconventional hero?
Well, and it's not gender specific, it's not race specific, it's not country specific, it's just a...
We can all identify with the robot.
Yeah, it's a humanoid form,
Yeah.
but a metal machine that starts off like a baby most of the time in those, or starts off in a way of just not knowing... His world is about to really expand.
Yeah, no, I guess all of those stories. Well, maybe not Baymax.
I mean, not Baymax. Baymax had a pretty big experience. A lot of experiences
Yeah, his worldview was a lot different, but
Lot
he was
different.
also very sweet and innocent.
It was very baby-like.
They're all kind of these innocent creatures who can save the day. And I guess that is a very human story to think that, even the smallest person can change the course of the future, to quote Galadriel. But they're all these sort of like innocent, lovely creatures who do extraordinary, humane things, showing that, the human experience is not just human, right? Although it is. But I guess we really love stories where it isn't. I don't know if our listeners out there have seen The Wild Robot. That movie devastated me in the best way. As a mother, oh my God. The crying that I did there, you saw me.
You saw
I was
me?
fucking, you were a wreck. And I love it when movies make you cry that hard. It's a beautiful thing.
It was a beautiful movie.
Yeah, that movie is fucking beautiful. And I think I have not seen Big Hero 6 a lot. I've seen it maybe twice. Definitely once, maybe twice. I think we own it.
We do.
But
I've seen it maybe 2 or 3
Yeah.
times.
my favorite thing about Baymax is that he's played by Hornberger from 30 Rock. But I think that's just one of my favorite two characters played by the same person, Baymax and Hornberger. Pete, oh my God. That I remember that movie being very sweet and very, wholesome and beautiful and pure. Hey, Robin, don't bite. We all know how I feel about Wall-E. It's my favorite thing to exist. I love the relationship between the Iron Giant and Hogarth, even if Hogarth is very annoying. I love the relationship that Dean plays, too, as, like, the wacky uncle / father figure.
Hogarth and Dean essentially are Mom, Pa, Kent.
God, they are.
And it's funny because the way that Hogarth's mom is treating Hogarth, that's exactly how Hogarth is treating the Iron Giant. Trying to come with rules and, you can't do this, you can't do that. But they're both like out of control kind of kids. He is taking what his mom is saying to him and passing it on to the robot.
But not listening to it himself.
But not really listening to himself because now he has this responsibility that's more important than what his mom is telling him to do. So that's the excuse that all kids, when they go on adventures, get.
Yeah.
I have bigger responsibilities than listening to my parents. So that's why I gotta go on
no
this
bigger
adventure.
responsibility than listening to your parents
It's
until
like
you
Frodo.
until you move out, and then you cannot listen. You don't have to listen to your parents, guys. Yeah, I also, while I never bought the chemistry between the mom and Dean, I am glad that they get together. Does that make sense? Like, I guess you don't really see them much in a capacity where they interact too often, but I do find it funny that eventually they become a couple.
Well, yeah. I mean,
but of course they had to.
they had to
Yeah.
because he's a handsome guy. She's a single female.
And he likes her kid.
Yeah. That's all that matters in the 50s.
That's all that matters in the 50s. Who sends the nuke? Does America try to nuke that small town?
Yes. There's a submarine off the coast of America. Just easy as just a general being like a button.
Yeah, that is terrifying to think.
He actually, well, I mean, he radioed this.
Yeah, but I mean, same with thinking
It's all
about. Same with like in the Avengers when the council tries to nuke Manhattan. It's like
whoa. Who gave them that kind of power?
And also like that is extreme.
That is so extreme.
And while I get that extreme times call for extreme measures,
I know we've got this alien
maybe give them
army.
Maybe give the Avengers 45 minutes.
Yeah,
an hour.
don't just call it over just because this like 5-mile square block of Manhattan
it's getting kind of fucked.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if they hadn't sent the nuke, the battle wouldn't have ended because Tony was able to prevent the battle with. It's still all
the
this
writers
to say
did a great job writing that in there.
I'm just shocked at how readily in our entertainment, our own country is just willing to destroy
Just so eager to
ourselves.
destroy ourselves. Yeah.
And it's even more shocking to see
Enemy, kill them all.
how our actual government is so readily wanting to destroy our country. And that's horrifying to me. But the fact that they're just
You'll get rid of the bad guys that way.
It'll get rid of everyone that way.
But at least the bad guys are gone.
This is the same argument that they have in Dogma, by the way.
No, I know.
Like,
But that's because it works, because it's a thing that's been happening forever in culture.
having to kill yourself to kill your enemy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when innocent people are involved,
It's for the greater good.
the greater good. I don't know, man.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
If you nuke Maine, I'm pretty sure that many fucking people are gonna suffer.
What was Maine doing up there anyway?
What is Maine doing out there at any point?
I was pretty sus, just it hanging out there at the end.
Hey.
Cat,
No.
stop attacking
No.
the podcast. Hogarth is also, not only is he playing one of the Kents, but he's also a Lois Lane in a way, for essentially just being the damsel in distress that always needs saving.
Oh, he is a dumb fucking kid. So,
That's what they do.
yeah.
You get
What I don't like in stories, here is my critique of the Iron Giant. And it is something that bothers me deeply in my soul. Not just in the Iron Giant, but in shows in general, like in entertainment in general. A creature that big could not move that quietly. In fact, it shows him not being very quiet when he moves, and then other times he is stealthier than a fucking ninja.
Oh yeah, he can tiptoe around Manly
Yeah.
like
Like there's no tomorrow.
and take a bite out of a car
Yeah.
without
What?
any noise
No
whatsoever.
noise whatsoever in the middle of a forest where you can hear any fucking
It's
thing.
one of his powers.
That shit bothers me.
It's like Superman looking through metal, except this guy got tiptoeing powers.
There's just that level of continuity
it-
always bothers me.
Yeah, but that scene added it was a great moment.
I'm not saying
of when
it's
he
not
comes
funny
back
and
to
charming.
his car and it's got that big bite.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
No, it's very funny. But you hear that shit.
It's a kid's movie. It's a kid's movie. I don't want my kid's movie being that real. That's what Terrence Malick. You'll see a Terrence Malick film.
Could you imagine if Terrence Malick did The Iron Giant? Lots of fucking trees. The town was afraid of him. The military's coming after him. The military is literally trying to murder him. But he wants to save Hogarth and save the town. And
I mean, Hogarth, and it wasn't even that. He could have grabbed Hogarth and just shot out of there.
Yeah.
And the fact that Hogarth tells him, we're all going to die because of that bomb.
Yeah, it's a very heroic thing to do. Yeah.
And
The idea of self-sacrifice.
Self-sacrifice, and it follows Superman comics and what he stands for. More, not just hope.
Yeah.
It's not hope.
But truth and justice.
Truth and justice, the American way.
Not the American way anymore.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But he stands for something that's bigger than himself, and you get a little bit of that in the Christopher Reeve movies. Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to be that kind of hokey fun and
Campy and goofy.
campy, but also like we got to see a man fly.
Yeah.
And that was never seen, and they did it such a great way of portraying it. But and the first movie's story was probably one of the better ones. I mean, everybody has that nostalgia feeling of what Christopher Reeve's Superman movies were, and they get real goofy real quick.
Yeah, well, all superhero movies do. Let's be
And,
real honest here.
And the fact that we get upset about the goofiness part of them,
Yeah.
it can be really ridiculous.
It's like, God, guys, these are aliens. Like, this
What movie do you think we're watching here?
yeah. I wasn't as emotionally connected to these characters the way that you are. But I'm glad that you have this movie. And I love that I love that you have a movie like this that you care for so much. You have the way that, like, I love Beauty and the Beast. You love The Iron Giant. And everybody deserves an animated film that lives inside of their soul. I love that this one's yours. I think that's really sweet. What would you rate Iron Giant, my love?
I give Iron Giant a 5.
Of course you do.
It's a fantastic movie. There's no faults with it.
Definitely at
0.
least in the top 5 of your favorite animation films of all time?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
I would give it a 4.5. It's, it's got everything you could possibly want. I just, I guess you've got longer years of love on this and more of a connection than I do. So for me, it's just a really good film. And so I'll give it a 4.5. And yeah, thank you for sharing it with me.
So, Maggie.
Yes, Caveman.
I have 2 questions for you.
Hit it. Where did you find bloopers?
On YouTube for Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Star Wars blooper.
I feel like I know I've seen Star Wars bloopers, but I don't remember them the way I remember, like, Marvel bloopers. But maybe I just haven't thought about looking up Poe Dameron bloopers. Oh, God, I love him so fucking much. Oscar.
Isaac. So, Maggie.
Yes, honey.
Would the presence of Oscar Isaac have made The Iron Giant a better film?
No. Yeah, no. Because I think that, genuinely, I think the weakest... Actually, no. There is no weak link in this film in terms of, like, animated or voice-over performances. So... And I don't think it would have made me love it all that much more. So no, I don't think that this movie could be improved with his sultry voice.
Well, question number 2, which character would you have had Oscar Isaac play, though?
That's a tough one. Because, like, Christopher McDonald does such a good job as his creep. John Mahoney shall never be replaced in anything ever. I mean, Harry Connick Jr. does a really good job, but Oscar Isaac could have pulled off a really good Dean. So I'm not saying that I would want this, but if I had to choose, I think that Dean would be the way.
I think he could do a really good job in a lot of them. Like,
yeah.
I could see him playing a Dean. I could see him
playing Hogarth. I wouldn't have minded that, actually. I don't think it would have made him any less annoying, but it might have. He
Mansley
could
would have been
the mom.
interesting.
Could have replaced Jennifer Aniston with Oscar Isaac, and just I would have been like, yeah, I buy this completely. But yeah, he would have been fun. He would have played a fun Dean.
I'm going to be a mean, lean, deaning machine.
And that has been this month's bonus episode of Movie Mingle on the Iron Giant, and we hope you enjoyed it, even a fraction of how much we enjoyed bringing it to you. Hard to tell how long this one will be versus how much we recorded, but have fun with that, Caveman. Coming up next week, we'll be talking about Shutter Island, the Martin Scorsese film. He directed Jack, in case you didn't know. And we hope you enjoy it. It's to come. I don't know what it's going to be like, but it's going to be a fun one, I'm sure. Whew, boy, we need a nap. As ever, you can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Letterboxd at MovieMinglePod. You can find us on YouTube at MovieMinglePodcast, and you can write us any questions, comments, thoughts, and concerns at movieminglepod@gmail.com. All that information is in the description below if none of what I said just made sense. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. Be kind. Be safe out there. And remember, if you find a robot in the woods, always hide him from the government. It never causes problems. Now go mingle. Bye!
You are who you choose to be.
Are you an effective team?
We are an effective team.
Let them fight.
How did you just do that?
I'm a really good lawyer.
Here on Caladan, we've ruled by air power and sea power. On Arrakis, we need to cultivate desert power.
Welcome, Mr. Beach. What's that gone? I'm a little confused.
Well, we wouldn't want that, would we?
I don't want to brag, but I will. I was in the Avengers.
The Avengers?
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. What is that?
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Toga, 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 toga.